Hello, and thank you for joining us this Monday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Benga Oreshegun, making a debut on the show. Now, today on the program, Canadian police arrest Nigerian woman Amaka Somberger, who threatened to poison Yoruba and Benin people. Also on the show, mass trial of August protesters begins in Abuja, Kano, Kaduna, and Maiduguri this Monday. And later on the show, amidst rising subsidy costs, NNPCL finally admits owing foreign petrol suppliers huge debts. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Utitoju and Chris Kendi Nwadu. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. It amounts to hiding behind a finger, living abroad and threatening to kill some people belonging to certain ethnic groups. Now, despite claims and of immunity, the police in Canada have arrested a Nigerian woman based in the country, Amaka Patient Somberger, for threatening to poison Yoruba and Benin people in a viral video. Now, in a press statement issued on their website, the Toronto police revealed that the suspect will be arraigned in court this Monday. Now, the Canadian police also noted that the investigation is being treated as a suspected hate-motivated offense. Now, let me start with you, BKO. Now that Amaka Somberger has now been arrested, this is in fact great news from the Toronto police for tracking and arresting her swiftly. Don't you agree?
Yes, this is best thing to do. You don't wait until the person carries out the threat before you take action. In all decent societies, hate speech is not condoned. Hate speech led to the Rwandan Program.
1994.
In which more than 1 million people died. People were on radio, spreading hate about other people, calling for the slaughter of other people. We saw the end product. And today, the Rwandan people have emerged strongly from that adversity. Today in Rwanda, you can't call yourself a Hutu or a Tutsi person. You are simply a Rwandan. If you try that, you go to jail. The country has zero tolerance for hate-filled ethnic divisions or even killings. So I believe that Amaka could have been triggered by maybe similar hate-filled vituperations by other people, but that does not insulate you against the laws of the land. If you are triggered by anyone saying negative things about your race, you cannot respond in kind in the way that she has done. Because I've heard people say, oh, the Yorubas have been saying such things. That they've been saying such things does not mean that you are even you are in a foreign land.
True.
You are not a citizen by reason of your birth. In the eyes of the Canadian people, you are still a foreigner.
But she claimed immunity.
No, she claimed that she cannot be deported.
Okay.
Yes, that was the point that she made, that because some people claimed that she had been arrested and she will be deported. She then said no, that I'm in my house, let them come and arrest me.
Such confidence.
Yes, you know, she felt that as a citizen that she could not be deported. But the truth is, citizenship that is not by birth can be revoked.
True.
Although I do not believe that this particular case can lead to revocation of citizenship. I'm just saying,
the laws.
Yes, because they are probably going to jail her. You go get a life sentence, and they could even make her do community service and all that, or a suspended sentence.
Okay.
The point that I'm making is your citizenship can be revoked if you commit some grave offense.
offenses.
I've seen it done in other countries. You know, somebody, look at the case of the Nigerian grandson. He too was saying a lot, hate-filled speeches being made about fellow Nigerians. Invariably, grandson was arrested in the UK and jailed. This is a lesson to our people.
Another person is Simon Ekpa.
Simon Ekpa is still roaming about in Finland, spreading hate amongst our people and instigating people to violence. The Finnish authorities have not done anything about this matter.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, but the point that I'm making is Nigerians, especially the Igbos and the Yorubas, the hatred that both tribes are demonstrating against one another, especially on social media. I've never seen anything like that.
Now,
there should be we should not hate ourselves so much. And I can see a linkage between the level of hatred that the Igbos and the Yorubas and superiority contest, needless, sheepish superiority contest between both tribes. There's a linkage between what's going on and the 2023 election.
Okay.
But the point that I'm making, which I also suggested on my YouTube program, Issues with Jide, is that leaders of thought in both ethnicities, this is the time for them to come together and say, look, enough. We are one people, united by our nation.
Okay.
There is no reason why we should hate ourselves this much. If somebody steals something in South Africa, we first go and check his ethnicity. If it is a Yoruba person, Igbos on social media will rise in a wave and start referring to his ethnicity. If it happens
the other way around,
the other way is the same thing that you get. They'll say, okay, see, we told you now, this is what they are doing. We need to stop this nonsense. We need to stop it, and even taking it to another country. It's what I never expected.
It is sad.
You know, we've got to find a way to rein in this level of hatred because things can degenerate if we don't do something about it. So that's why I suggested maybe a kind of, in the past we had Southern People's Summit.
Okay.
Why can't we have a summit of Yoruba leaders and Igbo leaders where they will come together? If the young people who are spreading hate on social media, if they see their leaders, their elders come together
as one,
you know, embracing one another and saying, look, gentlemen, let us forget the past. We are one people.
Okay.
I'm sure that it will go a long way to ease this pain. Because recently some Yorubas too said the Igbos should be expelled from Lagos. What is all that nonsense? I'm happy the governor came out quickly to say, no, we do not support. And we too came on our program to say, we do not support it. If you say you want to banish Igbos from, what do you do with people like Chris Kende Wandu?
All right, talking about Chris.
What do we do with people like him? Intermarriage has happened between us.
All right, CKN, is this enough to act as a deterrent for others who might want to try such thing?
First and foremost, on behalf of the crew, let me formally welcome you to the program, to the program of choice.
Thank you, exactly.
You have washed your hands so clean that you are joining the elders.
Yeah.
As Chinua Achebe said in his book, Things Fall Apart.
Thank you.
So I welcome you.
Thank you.
That aside, just as BK rightly said, I'm caught in between this debacle as it is. I have an Igbo father, I have a Yoruba mother. And that in itself, at times you ask yourself, where do I belong? Is it the Yoruba race or the... I claim the two. Where it becomes convenient for me, but I'm a Nigerian. Yes.
You are a Ghanaian.
Yes.
You know you claim the land of your mother.
Yes, of course, mother. Yes, that's Ghana. Then back to what we are discussing. The statement made by Amaka is one of the most irresponsible statements I've ever heard. Whatever the provocation, they didn't get to that. And that is why I like the statement issued by Mr. P2B immediately. He seems to be the only Igbo leader that come out to condemn that statement in its entirety. So I really like what he said. But just like Bike also said, Amaka said us somewhere across Nigeria. But in the past few months, we've seen that kind of narrative across board, where we've seen ethnic profiling, calling of names, all sorts of threats and rest. And we have always warned that we have to checkmate this. And it's so sad that despite most of the people that have been making this comment, none have been arrested. And I've always said it time and time within Nigeria. And I said it, the problem we have in Nigeria is that not be able to arrest people, prosecute them as a deterrent. Because when you do, it sends signals. See what the Canadians did. The person that was threatening was a Nigerian, or is a Nigerian. The people that she was threatening are Nigerians. They are not even Canadians. But the Canadian authority knew
and they tracked
the essence of it. They track her down, and she's going to be prosecuted.
Now, let's look at, in Nigeria, we have the Cybercrime Prevention Act.
Yeah.
I see all sorts of shenanigans go on social media, online.
You know,
are Nigerians truly aware of the contents of that act?
You know,
for them to be doing such things?
Yes, most of them don't know. And I've said it on this program. When I've been saying it, when we leave here, BK will say, oh, you are once an ex-convict. Yes, because I was the first Nigerian to be tried on that act. That act was enacted in in fact, that was one of the reasons why I went back to school to read law. That law was enacted in 2015 and was signed into law by the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. Just few hours before, it was one of those 100, 100 laws that he quickly signed as he was leaving. And I was arrested for something I posted on social media. And I was kept at a Kiriki prison for close to 3 weeks before I was eventually released and the charges were. Most Nigerians don't know the implications of what they are doing. They don't know the implications of what they are doing. You just see somebody just go to social media just because he has a China phone. You just and he has 1,000 naira or 500 naira. You just go and go and see what is good. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook is even worse. And you ask yourself, some of these people say, if they see you, most of them when they see us, they can't even look at you straight in you. You can't. They can't. No. So the message I'm saying is that let us take a leaf from what has happened in Canada. So that subsequently, we need to start arresting people here in Nigeria that are doing the same and forming this ember of hatred.
Of our time, maybe in 30 seconds, let me give you, how do we strengthen our diversity? Maybe in just 30 seconds.
Yes, I think the leaders have a big role to play. Our leaders have enjoyed dividing us. Some of them have been very responsible in the way they sow seeds of discord between our people. That has to stop. That has to stop. They must take concrete steps on their own to try and bring everyone together. I mean, it's possible. Yeah. It's possible.
Okay. All right. Just in 2 seconds.
No, he has said it all. Yes. He has said it all. What I just feel is that even our leaders also take advantage of such situations, especially during politics, to be able, and they should stop dividing us.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. All right, let's move straight to our next story, where the long arm of the law always wins in a hide-and-seek game with criminals. So it has been for a former beauty queen, Aderinoye, Queen Christmas, also known as Queen Oluwadamilola Aderinoye, who was surrendered to the Lagos command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, after spending nearly 8 months in hiding for drug-related offences. Now, in a statement in Abuja, the Director of Media and Advocacy, NDLEA, Femi Babafemi, said Aderinoye was declared wanted by the agency in January after she evaded arrest during a raid on her apartment in Oral Estate in Lekki, Lagos on the 24th of January. Now, Aderinoye, who previously held the title of the Miss Commonwealth Nigeria Culture 2015 to 2016, is also the founder of Queen Christmas Foundation. BKO, now that the ex-beauty queen surrendering after 8 months on the run, do you think justice will eventually be served?
Yes, I'm confident. This current leadership of the NDLA is a very, very focused one. And they've shown so much energy, they've shown inventiveness, they've taken the war against drugs to a different level. And you can only get better. Things that we were not seeing, the level of hard work by drug law enforcers that we didn't see before now, we are beginning to see, because General Marwa has made it clear that he is not going to relent in this war.
Okay.
They've been able to arrest many drug barons. They've made big hauls. You know, for the first time, I saw drug law enforcers in our country using the waterways to track down a drug baron. This is really impressive. And this woman knows that, look, no matter how long she runs,
the long arm of the law
will still get hold of her. And it is for this reason that, in my view, she just told herself, how much longer can I run from the law? I'm sure she must have been advised that, look, you are living the life of a fugitive in your own country.
Which is not easy.
You ran away during a raid, you know, on your premises, and you remain a wanted person. You can't go out. Where you and I can go, a wanted person cannot
Exactly.
go. A wanted person will find it difficult to go and enjoy sunlight. She will stay in her room all day long. I'm sure she just told herself that, whatever happens, let me come out. Whatever they are going to do to me, let them do it to me. And the NDLA says they found assorted illicit drugs, you know, in her premises. They took away her vehicle and some other things from that building. So I think she did the right thing. You will get punished. We all know that it's no longer death sentence in our country.
Like during the military.
Like during the military era. So some of us still think that the law against drug trafficking amounts to a slap in the wrist, because look at that actress that was arrested. Within a short time, we saw her. She was even appearing in movies again. So why should she run away for 8 months? She should have submitted herself to the law. You put you on trial, you serve your time. After a while, you are out. But one thing that they do very well, this current leadership of the NDLA, all your properties, you get hold of them, you forfeit them to the state.
Because they believe proceeds of crime.
Yes, they see those things as proceeds of crime. So that beyond the sentencing, you won't come back and then enjoy a life of luxury from the things that you bought from the drug money that you made. So that is the real punishment, in my view, not the sentencing.
Okay. Because
the sentence is usually a light one. But if all your life savings from hawking illicit drugs are taken away from you, you know that you have to start from ground zero.
And which is a big lesson.
Yes.
Many people would not.
Yes, many people never recover when they have to start from the base.
Zero.
So, and that is, I like what is going on.
Okay. Yeah. All right, CKN, let's talking about NTLE and the war on drugs. Why is Nigeria so attractive? Is it that they use Nigeria as a conduit? Or why? We don't produce most of these drugs.
Yeah, it is one. Nigeria is more like a transit camp.
Like a transit camp?
Yes, yeah, for most of this. That's why you see that most of these drugs are meant for Brazil, they're meant for US, Canada, and some other countries. So they use this as a transit camp, believing that, one, that our airports and borders are very porous. That is one of the reasons. But that is why I commend the current leadership of the NDLA, because just as they are trying to be, the criminals are trying to be creative, I think they also get double creative.
Double creative.
Yes, they get double creative. I don't know the kind of training they give them for them to be able to, because when you start seeing this, you remember in those days, it used to be in the hair and in the body part of women and the rest. They don't do those ones again. They don't put it inside their whatever. Because things I cannot see on TV. And that's what used to be the case. But now they devise that some are putting slippers, some are even bringing car engines, you know, and put inside and seal it up and the rest of them. But that is one. Two is that most of them are very lucky. You know why I say they are lucky? If you see the kind of punishment that is given out for drug-related issues, especially Asia countries. Okay, Asian countries. Yes, Asia countries. Asia countries, you marvel. And that is why even baffled me. When somebody will want to mogo cocaine, is going on pilgrimage, you carry cocaine from here, want to take it to Saudi Arabia. They behead you immediately. Yes. Whether you're in the airport. Immediately, they don't even, they don't go to court. They don't take you to there. There and there, they get to be beheaded. Now, and that's it.
Now, Siki, let's look at solutions. Yeah. Whistleblowing policy.
Yes.
Recently, the federal government tried to, put some legal backing to will whistleblowing help in the fight against drugs?
It would have helped, but those that blew the whistle in the past were they conveniently compensated. There have been instances where people blew, especially when it comes to the issue of money laundering.
Can't you do it for the love of the country?
Then it goes beyond just love. If you say for the love of country, then nothing at stake for some people. Yes, for you and I. For the love of country. But some certain people, they always want to get something in return. If you understand what I mean. Yes.
Yeah, that they could eventually
report. Then they can also, the information can also be traced back to them. At times, they can also be traced back to them. And they come and especially with our security agencies. But where I'm really heading to is not just about the possession and sales, but also consumption. The high rate of consumption of drugs in the country has risen so high, especially the youth. If you go to the various universities and see, and even secondary school children these days,
yes, sadly,
the level of drugs that they take is so type. In the north, they have gone ahead as even that is why you've seen the banning of certain drug, cough medicine, and the rest of them being used. Then the worst part of it is that, like her own part, I want to believe that some of the, because she's a celebrity, quote and unquote, most of her clients will also be celebrities. We've seen so many of our celebrities, what they do. Most of them cannot do without seeing them before going on stage. Those of them listen. They should on social. You see some of them, some even in their music promote some of this. We remember somebody, the one that was this thing before, that was eventually was to be made an ambassador of one of the agency as well. That Nigerians cried that. And that is something that is winning Grammy and so. They need to do a lot of orientation. And yes, orientation and the
can help us with that.
NDLA cannot do it alone. This is where the national NOA comes in. That is where the NOA, if we have said it that time and time, if you see the solid state the NOA is now currently, they don't have the money.
Yes.
They don't have the money.
There's a lot that they can do.
There's a lot they can do. I've seen some of it. Do you know that they've started having a newspaper or this thing or their own publication? Something I saw it the other day. Okay. There's a lot they can do, but the DG came out the other day to say we don't even have the money to execute some of it. So that is areas I think that we should be able to.
All right, thank you very much for that point there. We need to go on this break. Journalists Hangout. We'll be right back.
And cable, great quality, now with the new look.
Time is power. Our lives are powered by the sun. As the sun rises, so do we. As we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your morning with our hybrid all-in-one inverter. Powering our prosperity and happiness.
Sustainable future. in the shell. Start time solar.
But also nurture what is dear to us, powering trust and support, empowering us to do things that really matters. Start Times Solar. Power your life.
And if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout on TVC. I'm still with BKO and Chris Kendo Wadu. My name is Benga. So let's go to our next story. In the exercise of their rights, citizens must be wary of the point at which not to cross the line. The mass trial of the End Bad Governance protesters has commenced in Abuja, Kano, Kaduna, and Borno courts. Now, those detained over the protest in Abuja were tried in Justice Emeka Nwite's court, while human rights lawyer Femi Falana SAN led a team of lawyers to defend the protesters. Now, Amnesty International said out of the 2,111 suspects arrested across the country, 1,403 have been arraigned in various courts. Now, you'll recall that Justice Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja granted the request by the police to remand 124 protesters in custody for 60 days pending conclusion of the investigation. Now, BKO, there's been insinuations suggesting that the trial of the August protesters goes against the right to peaceful assembly, which is enshrined in talk about Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution. Do you agree or do you disagree with this?
I have spoken a number of times about the August protests, because that's the way I like to describe it.
Exactly.
I think one TV station actually couched it that way.
Instead of a nationwide.
Yes, instead of calling it a nationwide. A protest in which more than a quarter of the states in our country didn't get involved. I cannot call it a nationwide protest.
Good.
So I would like to call it the August protest or cost of living protest, because that's the way, that's what it was meant to address. Now, people have the right to protest. Let's be clear about that. But there are limitations to the exercise of your rights to protest.
Section 45.
Those limitations are listed, even in subsequent sections. If in the exercise of your right to protest, you infringe on the rights of other people to movement across the country, you have contravened the law. And that is why in the UK, those who blocked roads in the name of protest, they were apprehended and jailed. It is not only in our country that protesters are arrested and put on trial. In the UK, these last protests in communities, cities like Liverpool, protesters went on looting spree, and they were arrested. Just if you just Google it, you see multiple arrests made in the UK in the course of protests. Some were breaking into shops.
Yes.
It's not only in Nigeria that people protest and break into shops. But as we have seen with our own case, people have been arrested. Look at the case of more than 100 trucks of fertilizer looted in Jigawa State alone.
Yes.
Do you know what that can do? More than 100 trucks. I'm not saying 100 bags, so trucks. Which means these things were carefully coordinated.
That's not protest, it's robbery.
It's not, for me, what happened in Kano, Gombe, Katsina, all of those places, you can't call them protests. Because protests shouldn't be what people do and just grab the opportunity to steal. In Kano, they even looted a mosque, carted away the rug. So are you going to say that such people step out of line do not deserve to be arrested? And if you look, how many people, for example, were arrested in Lagos? Because the protest went on in Lagos peacefully. People want to occupy the streets, occupy the roads, block vehicles from moving. That is not a protest. That road that you blocked could be the opportunity to save a life being taken away. Yes. Somebody may be in a vegetative state or in a life-threatening situation. They are taking that person to the hospital. You block the road. Of course, you deserve to be arrested. And we saw what had never happened in our country before. People are protesting and they are carrying the flag of Russia. What is the meaning of that? Some people have come to deceive themselves that, oh, it's the flag of the Nigerian force. It's absolute false.
Yes, I heard comments like that.
It is the flag of Russia. They even granted interview. I granted some of our people do not understand Hausa. They granted interview. They were hailing Russia and telling Russia to come and intervene in our matter. Do you know that some people were already going into army barracks trying to recruit people? Because every time they saw soldiers, they tell them, oh, Kumoke, so it is you that we want in power. They made no pretense about that. They wanted regime change. And they wanted military rule because they can see that their cousins in Niger Republic, in Burkina Faso, you know, in Mali, Guinea, the military are taking over in such countries. So they were hoping that it could happen here. So carrying the Russian flag, they knew what they were doing.
It's a signal.
They knew what they were doing. It's not Nigerian flag. It's not the flag of the Nigerian forces. It's Russian flag. They granted interviews. They explained why they were carrying the flag. So a good number of those people carrying the Russian flag were arrested. They are being put on trial. Some of the people behind this, some of the people who gathered money using crypto currency to mobilize people for this kind of protest. Government has been going after them. They've some of their accounts have been frozen. You can imagine an individual account having as much as 35 billion, an individual's account.
Oh dear.
How do you explain that?
Oh dear. Now, Siki, let me come to you. There's been all sort of reactions, okay, comments here and there. Amnesty International has come out to say that these people are demanding for the unconditional release of these protesters, saying that the government should not even arrest them, but instead the government should address the reason for the protest. What do you have to say to what Amnesty International Nigeria is saying?
First of all, we have to be able to distinguish between looters and protesters. That is very key, number one. Two is the fact that everybody arrested is assumed to be innocent until a competent court of law decides otherwise. So everybody that's been arrested and being charged to court today and will also be charged to court are seen as suspects, as it were. So we have to clarify that very, very well. I also want the police to go further to be able to investigate properly and make sure that innocent people do not get themselves, don't get themselves involved and sentenced. That is where the police has to be very, very thorough. But as Bikio said, most of what's happened in some parts, especially in the north, was actual looting, not protest.
Not protest.
When you see a situation where they move into NCC facility, a new facility that was equipped with computers and the rest of them that was to be commissioned, the next day. They did not only cut away the computer, even the doors, even the chair and rocks were all cutted away. So now today,
it's not protest.
Yes, so that is no longer a protest. That is looting. That is robbery. But today, the Nigerian police came out today to declare even a wanted.
Wanted, yes.
Yes. I think he was the guy that the police went to the NLC building that we are talking about today, they finally came out with his name, with picture, with one other Nigerian, and has been, so you understand? So, but it's good that they're having their days in court because people are already complaining, just like Amnesty and the rest of them. Because when you arrest an individual in Nigeria, you have between 24 hours and 48 hours to be able to charge him to court, except a court, competent court, gives otherwise. And I know that there is a court, a judge, that said that they can be held for 60 days. That to me was the extreme for me. In as much as the security agencies have a right to be able to investigate, but it's good enough that the government have come out and the police have come out, they must have concluded their investigation, and these guys have been taken to court.
How do we avoid a repeat of this?
Well, there are two things. One, to make sure that the genuine, and that's why I say let us distinguish between looters and protesters. Most of those issues that were raised by the demands, government should look at. Let us not just sweep it apart and just look at it as nothing happened.
You don't see those demands as too bogus or things that the government can actually do?
No. You look at some of them are bogus and some of them doesn't make sense. But the fact is that there are some of them, especially the one that has to do with food.
Okay.
Nigeria is not having the best or not be able to afford food and the likes. No, everybody knows that is a fact. The level of yes, everybody is feeling it. Even we that are at our small level, you can imagine how much what people send to you on a daily basis. Buy me 500 in May. Buy me 1,000. In fact, at times that you see some code, you can't even pick it again.
Yes.
This is true.
You will even be scared.
I say you'll be scared. It's true. Some people just send you message now that it got to a point that I get so scared that I put my phone on silence now, because when you tell people that you don't have, they'll be looking at it because it is same to you are suffering is what I'm suffering, for goodness sake. But they don't believe.
You think you are
because you are. Some people see you. Oh, you're on television. They say you're a millionaire.
I guess when they say, "Benga, can we talk?
Can we talk? What about it? Can we talk? You know, there's problem." So those are genuine issues that I think that government should be able to address. But anybody trying to use that to foment trouble or for whatever other is, then is no longer genuine, and such people have to be dealt with.
All right, BKO, 30 seconds.
Yes,
the August protest. A repeat of it, just in 30 seconds. Because
there will still be protests. People will protest because protests are necessary to get government to feel the pain that we are going through, because some of the people in government are disconnected. So we need protests. Protests sometimes bear good fruits.
Okay.
What we don't want is a situation in which people occupy the highways and say they are protesting the way they did during NSAS, and some people died in their cars. Sick people could not get to hospital. Perishable trailer load of perishable goods. You block the expressway. They could not go and discharge the content of those articulated vehicles. People lost money. People lost their lives. We don't want such protests.
All right.
You can still protest.
Okay.
And your message will be heard loud and clear without inconveniencing others. That is what the Constitution talks about. That, look, there are limitations to those rights. You have to be conscious. If I'm free to swing my arm like this, but if I swing it in a manner that breaks your nose, I'm already liable. Abi?
Okay.
I have no right to do that. So people must realize that every right that the Constitution gives you has limitations.
There's a limitation
and when you step out of line, those rights can either be taken away. The government can take away the rights to free movement, for example, when they impose a curfew.
Okay.
You know, a curfew keeps everybody inside his house.
All right, thank you.
So,
all right, thank you, PK. Let's move straight to our other story. Now, for some months now, there was a raging debate over whether the federal government continues to pay subsidy on petrol or not. Now, after months of denial, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has finally admitted that it is owing huge debts to its international petrol suppliers. The NNPCL stated that due to the situation, it is facing financial strain, thereby impacting supply sustainability and posing substantial threats to national fuel supply. Now, the National Oil Company had blamed weather conditions, including thunder and lightning and flooding and bad roads, for the long fuel queues across the country. CK, let me come to you on this one. Why did it take so long for the NNPCL to finally admit that it is owing foreign petrol suppliers that's under financial pressure?
Yeah. Time and time again, we'll be saying on this program, and it's almost becoming like a broken record, that the NNPCL and the former NNPC assistants within the hierarchy and their leadership, there's a high level of disconnect between the organization and Nigerians. And most often than not, they tell lies. Let's start with the easiest one. The GMD of NNPCL, Carrie, told us last year that the Port Harcourt refinery will come on stream because before the end of last year. From there, he moved it to February, he moved it to March. At the last count, it was 6 movements. The last one he said was that it was going to be August. Today is what? September 2nd. That is on one hand. When the issue of this scarcity started, as we rightly stated in D2, the NNPC came out to say, oh, it was a logistic problem. At the point, they blamed it on the end bad government. You remember they blamed it on the... Then another one, it was the road. Oh, it was air. It was sea. It was land. It was everything that was nothing on earth. Now, Reuters came out with a report some weeks back and said that their investigation has showed that the NNPC is owing about $6.8 billion to suppliers. NNPC came out to deny it. They said it was a lie, as they normally do. But what they did after, a few weeks after, they went and declared 3 trillion profit. Does it make, you are owing $6 billion and you are declaring 3 trillion profit? Even if you understand what, does it make any sense?
I don't know who they are trying to...
I don't know who they are trying to deceive, or who... Are they trying to impress the president or who? I will tell you for free, if you go, when the scarcity started from Abuja,
okay,
in front of the NNPC tower, where the GMD of NNPC sits, on his 13th or 15th floor, and his executive directors, opposite that, directly opposite, there's a filling station there. There have been queue. Right in front of that man. When he goes up and comes every day, he sees that queue, and they will still tell you that. And what did the matter? Oh, we have enough in the reserve. We have 1 trillion in the reserve. And now
that's like the normal narrative.
That is, but look at what is happening. Now the problem is that report coming is that 5 ships have petroleum products that they want to discharge on the high sea. It's already in Nigeria, but they have refused to discharge because they don't know whether they will be paid. Government tried to do a short last week or thereabout and gave about $300 million to NNPC to be able to address this shortfall. It still haven't happened.
That's like a flash in the pan.
Now you ask yourself, what we have always asked, if our refineries were working, as we've been crying out since all these days, we won't be here.
Okay.
And we spend trillions and trillions of naira to do what they call TAM. You know what that means? Turn around maintenance. They have been turning, and nothing has turned. Not a single drop of petroleum products.
All right, let me turn to BK this time. Now that NNPCL is declaring financial pressure, what are the implications for Nigeria? Are we to brace up for fuel shortage crisis?
Honestly, they've already said that the financial strain that they are going through could impact fuel supply nationwide. So they've told us what will happen. There's no need to ask whether supply hiccups won't happen. There's no need to ask. It's an inevitability. We have a national oil company that is notorious for lying to its people. The NNPC is the complete opposite of transparency. It is such an opaque national company. And there was something that I suggested in 2015 during the early months of journalists hangout.
Okay.
I said This NNPC, government should turn it to a public-private company.
Okay.
The motivation for that suggestion for me came from the flotation that Brazil did for Petrobras. It was so heavily subscribed, it set a world record. Today I read article was suggesting this.
That should be on the stock exchange.
This was something that I talked about in 2015. And I mentioned Petrobras. Look at the Petrobras example. I'm not saying corruption has been banished from Petrobras totally. No, I'm not saying that. But when the public and the private,
shares,
when private concerns, private individuals get involved in the ownership of a company, the transparency that NNPCL had not been accustomed to, we'll begin to see it. This is the way. Okay, look at, let's even give the example of NLNG. NLNG is a Nigerian company that I think Sani Abacha set up. But Nigeria does not run it. Another company runs it for us. And at the end of the year, profit is shared.
They declare.
The 3 tiers of government, they get their own, they get their share every year. That is an example of a properly run company. You know? So we are saying that, can't we do such a thing? I know that NNPC, they have assets. NNPC today should actually be a player in foreign countries, because we see public-owned oil corporations like them being international players. We see them. What is the problem with us?
BK, let me come in here. Let's talk about corporate governance in the NNPCL. How do we fix it? Should heads start rolling?
Heads may roll today and we'll still be back at the problem.
So it won't solve
the problem. The solution is what I have come up with, which Article 2 has come up.
Stock.
Let it be a public-private entity. It's as simple as that. The people who poisoned the mind of former President Yaradua and pushed them to revoke the sale of those
refineries,
moribund Nigerian refineries. They've done a great disservice to our nation. Look at where we are. Since the death of Yaradua, the money that we have spent on those refineries, and we've achieved nothing. You look at Kaduna refinery, for example, what is there? What is there? How do you even get crude oil supply to the refinery when the source of crude is there in the south-south? Look at the distance. You want to move crude oil in pipelines more than 700, 800 kilometers. You think it won't be breached along the way when those boys are waiting to steal? So, I mean, the refineries should have been sold at that time. All these people who get emotional when it comes to selling national assets. All these labor, Luta people who come and shout, what have we gained with our refusal to sell the refineries? I can tell you, people like Dangote, they wanted to buy at that time.
Yes, I remember.
If we had sold it, they won't be where we are today. It talks about the many times they've shifted the goalpost. Kyari cannot tell you with finality that this is the day that that refinery will begin to work. Neither does the president, who is the oil minister, know when Warri refinery, for example, will start to work. At best, if they tell him, they will lie to him the way they are lying to all of us.
Okay, let me come to you because of our time. Well, we have maybe just 2 minutes to go. But corporate governance, how do we fix it at the NNPCL? VKO suggested that even if heads roll, we'll still get back to the problem. He has suggested a solution. Do you have a different point here?
You know, my worry is that we thought the solution to the problem within the oil sector was the passage of the PIA. You remember the PIA?
Talking about the PIA. Why has it not worked?
That is what we should be asking ourselves.
It's not fully implemented.
You know, it is not being fully implemented. One of the recommendations within that act was the privatization of NNPC, not privatization, going public.
Going public.
It went. That is how you have NNPCL. The L there is limited. We now say it's a private company. Those there, are they behaving like those in private private?
Is it not Nigeria?
Is it not Nigeria that are this thing? Let me say,
not even the federal government assisting.
They say that still happen. Now ask yourself. He talked about Petrol. Do you know there is a company known as Aramco, which is Saudi Aramco, which is one of the biggest in the world? Have you seen the operation center? I saw BKO. I was happy with his report when he went to Dangote, when he stood in that transmission or whatever this thing. And you see that somebody will sit down there and be telling you the number of petroleum products that has been NNPC with all that have been in existence for how NNPC cannot tell you the number of crude oil that we get on a daily. Forget all this. All they are doing is forecast. 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Most of they cannot be proved. In this issue of just around the issue of this, they said one of the reasons why petroleum subsidy was removed was because of smuggling.
Yeah, the Minister of State.
You've forgotten that.
He talked about smuggling.
They have removed the subsidy, and still now we are still having our products being smuggled.
And that will happen.
So you see,
that will happen because as it is now, as it is now, because of the crash of our currency, the currencies of the countries around us are stronger than our currency. That's why they are mopping up.
So it's more profitable for them
to
take
it.
So they can offer anything, bring in our.
And you see the number of seizures they have at the border, mostly within the north. The seizure every day. So you can see
a
that
lot of the fuel supplyment for Nigeria goes as far as Central Africa Republic.
Wow.
Cameroon, Central Africa Republic, Burkina Faso. Our fuel is going that far.
That far.
We've helped subsidize petrol for that.
The first and foremost we need to clean up the whole of NNPC.
The whole of NNPC.
Starting with the irrespective of executive director. It may not solve the problem.
It won't solve it.
It may not solve the problem.
This was what Rufai suggested, that they should sack everybody. I now say, okay, you sack. Whom are the people that you bring? Are they not Nigerian?
They're still Nigerian.
You know that the petrol sector is a specialized sector. You will still have to bring people who had worked in that sector.
All right, VK.
And the people who had worked in that sector, a lot of them, we don't trust them.
Why is Mobile?
We don't trust them.
Why is Mobile working?
So I don't understand.
Why is the other ones? All those other privates.
All right, gentlemen. All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. How time flies when we discuss Nigeria. Thank you so much, CKN, Chris Kende. Thank you so much for having this conversation. Thank you very much. And also thank you.
You are doing well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for a
Thank
debut.
you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you
We
very
hope
much.
that you get better and better.
Exactly, one step at a time. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode later tonight at 11, and join us on Sunday from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.